And the numbers for Finley just jump off the page at you. He has pitched over 21 innings this season and given up just 1 earned run and 12 hits.
Not to mention, too, about Finley, Grant, he has opponents are batting 160 against him. That's fantastic numbers for someone so young.
Now working ahead, 0-2 on the right fielder, Cameron Leary, and Leary goes down swinging. Solid start to this outing for the freshman Finley. That's nasty stuff. Breaking pitch, nearly in the dirt, and Leary can only wave at it. That brings up the 3-hole hitter for Boston College, their second baseman, Luke Gold, who is the team leader in batting average, batting just a tick under .330 on the season. Gold was 0 for 4 yesterday in Game 2 of this series. Fouls it back. Was a first-team All-ACC selection a season ago, was Gold. Has started every game this season for Boston College, but is just 4 for his last 26 at the plate. 1-2 pitch, grounded left side. Preisner fields, fires, and it's a quick 1-2-3 inning to start Game 3 for the freshman, Jack Finley. Bottom of the first here in South Bend. The starting pitcher for Boston College is right-hander Sean Hard, making his 8th start of the season.
The Eagles said that they're going hard for this series win today, and they are bringing out the freshman, Sean Hard. He has an ERA of 10.3, but has 34 strikeouts and 25 innings pitched. He is a high strikeout pitcher, but he has a problem giving up extra base hits, which the Irish have the opportunity to maximize on today.
As we take a look at the starting lineup for Notre Dame, a lot of production coming from the top of the lineup, but you've got veteran guys like Jared Miller and Zach Preisner that also round out the bottom of the order.
They've been fantastic, the senior talent for the Irish, but today I'm looking at Jack Brannigan. His bat has been quiet, but you coming into this Boston College series, he has been absolutely on fire. He had this out-of-the-world bunt in Game 1 and continued with it in Game 2, going 4 for 4 with a 2-run home run and 3 RBIs. His bat has come alive for the Irish during this series, so all eyes will be on him.
A career day for Brannigan yesterday in his 4 for 4 outing, but leading off is the center fielder Ryan Cole, who's someone that head coach Link Jarrett speaks very highly of. Can play any position at a high level in the outfield. He's getting the start out in center today. Of course, Notre Dame still dealing with the injury to Spencer Myers, one of their veteran outfielders on the roster. But Coach Jarrett described Ryan Cole as a complete player with a lot of sneaky power. And Cole gets pelted with the second pitch, and he'll jog over to first base.
That's a way to lead off the game. Take a hit for the team. They got ice.
15th hit by pitch of the season for Ryan Cole. And that's something Coach Jarrett mentioned when we spoke to him earlier this week as well, is guys like Ryan Cole and Brooks Coetzee, who's stepping up to the plate now, not afraid to crowd that box and be physical while up at bat. 15th hit by pitch for Ryan Cole, and Coetzee, who's up currently, has been hit 9 times this year. Cole goes first pitch and is in safely with a stolen base. Some blazing speed from Ryan Cole. His 15th stolen base of the season, Sam. And how about this? He's 15 for 15 on the year.
Those are fantastic numbers, but when we spoke to head coach Link Jarrett, he mentioned that he wants the Irish to be aggressive, and when having someone like Ryan Cole, who is a speedster in the outfield, he's able to take advantage early on in the first inning and steal that base.
Quickly, a runner in scoring position for Notre Dame. 0-1 to Coetzee. Misses high. That pitch drops in for a called strike. Coetzee just 2 for 9 this series, but did score a run and rip an RBI double in the Game 2 victory yesterday. Struck out twice in Game 1. 1-2 pitch, runner goes. Coetzee swinging, skies it out towards deep right field. Leary going back, and he makes the play right in front of the wall. Cole will have to go back to second. And that's 1 out in the bottom of the first, but a nearly successful hit and run play by Notre Dame.
Yeah, and you saw that ball fly out to the warning track. However, today in South Bend, the winds are getting up to 25 miles per hour with higher wind gusts. So that's going to play a major factor in this game. We've seen the wind dominate this series, honestly, from Friday to now. I'm curious to see how the ball will react in the wind. We just saw it right there, Brooks Coetzee's fly out to right field.
So the freshman Hard gets a much-needed first out. And now Carter Putz, one of the most dangerous hitters in this Notre Dame lineup. Cole takes off from second and steals another bag. Ryan Cole, the senior, now 16 for 16 on stolen base attempts for the season. And these last 2 ones, he was in there by a mile.
And that's just the speed of Ryan Cole. Just fantastic base running by Cole right there.
Notre Dame starting off aggressive on the base bats in this Game 3. A 1 to Putz, misses outside. Putz is the team leader in hits and runs batted in this Notre Dame lineup. Was 1 for 5 with an RBI single and a run scored yesterday. Was also 1 for 5 in Game 1. He's currently the owner of a 5-game hit streak.
And Carter Putz is someone that Coach Link Jarrett speaks very highly of, the senior presence. He's been there before, and that is something that Carter Putz brings to this team.
Putz grounds out to Patrick Roach over at third base. Cole will stay put. And despite the stolen bases by Ryan Cole, Sean Hard has come back and gotten 2 key outs. That'll bring up the left fielder for Notre Dame, Jack Ziska. Ziska making his 18th start of the season for Notre Dame. Takes that 1-0 pitch for a ball. Someone that Coach Jarrett has talked about has benefited a lot from more opportunities this season, and the injury to Spencer Myers, not something that anybody associated with Notre Dame baseball would like, but it has offered Jack Ziska more opportunities to get in the outfield and get some at-bats. He's batting over .330 on the year. So he takes another ball from Hard. 24 hits on the season for Ziska, 13 of which have gone for extra bases. Had a tough game yesterday, was 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts, but in Game 1, picked up 2 hits, scored a run. and is having the best hitting season of his career by a long shot. 3-0 pitch, called strike.
And similar to Cole, Ziska is a guy who can play almost any single position in the outfield, which is great for a team. While they've just had numerous injuries to their players, they've been able to have players like Ziska step up in the key situations and provide depth, which is fantastic for this Notre Dame team trying to make a bid for the regional.
3-1 to Ziska. Hard got him swinging. Count is now full. Coach Jarrett described Jack Ziska as a physical kid who's got great power and exit velocity off of his bat. He hits the ball extremely hard to all parts of the field. 2 outs, the 3-2 pitch, called strike 3 this season. One pitch popped up left side. Brannigan ranging under it and gloves it for out number 1.
And that's just the talent of Jack Brannigan. Head coach Link Jarrett mentioning what an athletic specimen he is. Originally recruited to play center field, shortstop, and pitcher, Brannigan made that transition over to third baseman when they needed depth, and he's just been killing it ever since. We've seen this series alone how powerful that arm is. Can throw 99 on the mound, can also throw 99 across the diamond. Fantastic work by Jack Brannigan to get back on that play.
Finley deals a first pitch strike to Parker Landwehr, catcher for Boston College. Landwehr was 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts in both games 1 and games 2. Trying to get something going in this game 3. And he pokes one out towards left field, and it drops down for a base hit. First hit of the series for Parker Landwehr, and Boston College is in business, top of the second.
And that's just a perfectly placed ball by Landwehr. It's going to get right past Preisner at shortstop. He's going to try to make the diving play right there, but it's just a little too far ahead of him. But regardless, that is a hit for Landwehr, and he gets his first hit of the series.
Brings up Rafe Chalmette for BC. Chalmette launched a solo home run in yesterday's Game 2 loss for Boston College, but has not been overly successful at the plate this season. He was just 1 for his last 23 coming into this series. Did pick up the home run yesterday. Coach Mike Gambino hoping that gets things going for Chalmette. 2-0 pitch. Popped up. Shallow in the infield. Brannigan working under it. And Jack Brannigan has secured both outs of the inning thus far over at third.
You know, interesting enough about Chalmette before he just popped out right there. You said that he was 1 for 23 in his last 23 at bats. However, he's third in active players in the NCAA in hits, which is very surprising. So hopefully Mike Gambino gets his hitter back.
That ball is hit well out to center field. Cole is going back. He's at the wall, and he makes the play as he crashes into the center field wall to take a hit away from Patrick Roach. Excellent play by Cole out in center field. The freshman, Sean Hard, worked a scoreless first inning. Back out there to start the second. A 2021 state champion at St. Joseph Regional in New Jersey. Native of New Jersey, was actually drafted in the 20th round of the MLB draft by the New York Yankees. Out of high school was Sean Hard. And now finds himself trying to stifle a Notre Dame team that has put up 27 combined hits through games 1 and 2 of this series.
And I absolutely loved how Hard battled back after hitting Ryan Cole at the top of the inning, was able to get Brooke Coates a fly out, Carter puts the ground out, and had a 3-0 count on Jack Ziska, but came all the way back and froze him for the strikeout. That's why he is a great pitcher for the Boston College Eagles.
Faces Nick Jouer to start this bottom of the second. Jouer, a key lefty in this Notre Dame lineup, and had a big game one in this series. Was 3 for 5 at the plate, actually reached base 4 different times in game one. Two 1 from Hard, misses high. And Nick Jouer works himself a lead-off walk. Jack Brannigan takes his digs for the first time today, and yesterday Brannigan had a career day at the plate, 4 for 4, including this 2-run blast, and had a career high in runs scored with 3 and hits with those 4 hits.
Jack Brannigan has been dominating this series against the Boston College Eagles. 5 for 6 at 7 at-bats, including a walk. He's been great, and you just saw yesterday the type of power he has. I'm sure head coach Link Jarrett is smiling now, seeing one of his best bats from last season start to wake up.
It's now a 5-game hit streak for Jack Brannigan. Squibbed off the end of the bat. Brannigan is now 9 for his last 20 over the past 5 games. Getting hot at the right time. May 1st, the calendar reads, ACC tournament coming up at the end of this month. NCAA regionals in early June. 0-2 to Brannigan is in the dirt. Nice pick by the catcher, Landwehr. Nice stab by Landwehr to hold Jouer over at first. 1-2 pitch. Misses low.
It's something Jack Brannigan has done very well for the Irish, is has immense plate discipline. In game 1 alone, we watched his at-bat go to 12 pitches. He has the eye, and that is why he is a fantastic hitter for this Irish lineup.
Hard delivers the 2-2, and it's cut on and missed. Brannigan goes down swinging. Second strikeout of the afternoon for the freshman, Sean Hard, and it's the first out in this bottom of the second. Hard got Brannigan to chase that pitch, and now brings up another lefty in this Notre Dame lineup, Danny Neary, getting the start behind the plate for the Irish.
Come on, Danny. You go, 8.
14th start of the season Neary is making behind the plate, giving grad student David Lamanna a rest after he started the first 2 games of this series. And Neary waves and misses at that 0-1 from Hard. He falls behind 0-2.
Nerai is another solid bat off the bench, batting over 300. I'm sure when you're head coach Link Jarrett and the rest of the Irish, you're very fortunate that you can have players like Nerai come in for Lamanna, the grad student, and fill that batting average up and continue to have a score as he is going to go down on strikes. Nice pitch by Hard.
No success this time. Back-to-back strikeouts by the freshman Sean Hard. And Nerai had no chance at getting to that one. Second inning in a row that Hard has let the leadoff man on and then gotten back-to-back outs in response. We'll see if he can get a third for the second time as well. Up to bat is the second baseman, Jared Miller. Miller, 1 for 7 thus far this series with a walk. Scored a run yesterday, drove in a run on a single in game 1 on Friday. A veteran in this Notre Dame lineup, has played over 150 games in his Irish career. An excellent defender over at second base is Jared Miller. Another nice stop behind the plate by Landwehr. Two one, big cut from Miller. Hard blew it by him. Count now at 2-2.
You saw the stats earlier from Sean Hard when we opened up. He is a high strikeout pitcher. Already had 36 strikeouts in 23 innings pitched. As that his ball is going to get past Landwehr. Jouer will go to second base.
Second hit batter of the afternoon is Jared Miller. Sean Hard came inside, caught Miller on the back foot. So now 2 outs and 2 on for the 9-hitter for Notre Dame, Zach Preisner. And Sean Hard came into this game with 7 hit by pitches, and he now has 2 in the first 2 innings of work. Control has been a bit of an issue for the freshman Hard. He's walked 25 batters in 25 innings pitched coming into this series. Now finds himself in a bit of a hole dealing with Preisner. First pitch swinging, grounded left side. McNulty goes the short way to second, and Miller slides in safely. Some nice speed on the base paths by the grad student Jared Miller, and everybody is safe for Notre Dame. It's going to load the bases for the leadoff hitter Ryan Cole. And Sam, that looks like a nice play by McNulty over at short. Pulled him deep in the hole, only one place to go with it. But Miller beat it out.
And Miller, we've seen it in game 1 too when he was running hard down the first baseline for that controversial car. He is just a hard base runner, Jared Miller. You can't take that away. You can't teach that sort of thing. So Jared Miller is able to be safe. It was just a nice play by McNulty, but Jared Miller is just a tad faster.
Ryan Cole got hit by a pitch, the second pitch he saw last inning. 0-1 pitch, lined out towards center, coming on is Walsh, and he can't make the play. Jouer scores from third. Miller comes in from second. We'll see how it's scored. But for now, it's a 2 RBI single for Ryan Cole, and Notre Dame takes a 2-0 lead.
Put the bat on the ball, good things will happen. Ryan Cole is able to hit that ball right there. Barry Walsh, known for his defense, drops that ball right there, goes for the slide, flashy play. Unfortunately drops the pass, but the Irish will take those 2 runs and stay on 2-0 in the bottom of the second.
Walsh is an excellent defensive outfielder out there in center, has robbed multiple home runs over the wall this season. Nearly made an excellent sliding play there, but it fell out of his glove and ends up as 2 runs for Notre Dame. Again, Ryan Cole coming up in a big way for the Irish. He's now 10 for his last 28 at the plate, and the owner of a now 6-game hit streak. Remember, last inning, Cole stole 2 bases. First and third situation, Hard, the pitcher, making sure to keep Cole close at first. Third straight throwback to keep Cole close. I'd probably be doing the same thing if I was Hard, considering Cole's 16 for 16 on stolen bases this season. But the batter is Coetzee, who sent a charge out towards right field, sent Cameron Leary back to the wall his first time up. Runner goes. Landwehr pump fake the throw to second. Try to get Preisner cheating over at third, but Preisner got back in time. It's another successful stolen base for Ryan Cole, his 3rd of the game. And now Brooks Coetzee has 2 ducks on the pond.
I feel like that has to be a record right now for Ryan Cole, 3 stolen bases in less than 2 innings played already. I have to look that up when we go to break, whether or not that is an ACC record or not. But that's pretty impressive for Ryan Cole, and I like the design and the aggressiveness by Link Jarrett to get his runners in scoring position for Coetzee.
2-0 pitch is a strike to Coetzee. What I can tell you, Sam, is that in the shortened 2020 season, Spencer Myers, who's currently injured for Notre Dame, stole 6 bags in 1 game against Presbyterian.
That's
so
very
Ryan
impressive.
Cole halfway there, not even 2 innings through this one. A lot of speedsters on the base paths for this Notre Dame team. As Coetzee fouls back that 2-1 offering from Hard, and the count is now even.
It's also pretty impressive to be 17 for 17 in stolen bases.
Big at-bat in the early goings of this game. 2 on, 2 out, the 2-2. Lifted in the air towards deep center. Walsh is going back. He's on the track, and he makes the play, ranging back to the wall. Hard gets out of trouble, but not before Notre Dame takes a 2-0 lead as we head to the 3rd. Eight, 9-1 in the Boston College lineup to start this top of the 3rd. 2 innings of strong work thus far by the freshman left-hander Jack Finley for Notre Dame.
Love that breaking ball right there by Finley. He's been throwing it all night, and none of the Boston College hitters have been able to hit it through 3 innings so far. Fantastic work for the freshman.
0-2 pitch. Too far inside. Daniel Baruch is the left fielder for Boston College this afternoon. He was 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts yesterday. Finley goes back to the same spot on the inner half of the plate, misses again. 2-2 pitch, grounded softly over to Brannigan at third base. He's got a cannon, and he makes the strong throw over to Putz at first for out number 1.
Besides the ball that flew out to center field that was caught by Ryan Cole, Finley has done a fantastic job keeping the ball on the ground and letting his infielders make those plays. Head coach Link Jarrett spoke highly about how the interior defense has to step up, but being led by Jack Brannigan, they're doing that so far.
The shortstop, Sam McNulty, takes a first pitch ball from Finley. McNulty was 1 for 4 at the plate yesterday, 0 for 3 with a run scored in game 1 on Friday, but he's 4 for his last 27 at the plate. Just absolutely clobber that ball. Well foul though. Misses from Finley. It's the first walk that he's allowed this afternoon. Sam McNulty jogs over to first base, and the top of the order is back up. Barry Walsh, who just got caught on an in-between play on that 2 RBI single from Ryan Cole. Laced it out towards center. Walsh nearly came up with a beautiful sliding play. And now charges one. Deep to center. Cole at the wall. Makes the catch. Going back to first is McNulty. Second straight at bat that Walsh has put a charge into one out towards center. But Ryan Cole is all over it.
Right now it's a battle of the center field, I would say. First, Barry Walsh drops the ball on a fantastic play. He got there, just couldn't make the play. And then Ryan Cole takes away those 2 runs that Walsh was trying to get back. That's a nice rob by Ryan Cole. I don't know if you heard it just earlier. You heard the Boston College dugout go, see ya. They thought he had it, but Ryan Cole said, nope, not today.
And Walsh, someone who's known from taking hits away from other players, now getting his own hits taken away by Notre Dame center fielder Ryan Cole. And Coach Jarrett has spoke at length about how good of a defender Ryan Cole is. So 2 outs, runner on first. Pitch is in the dirt, but Nearai is all over it. McNulty has to stay put. Cameron Leary struck out on 3 pitches his first time up.
Cameron Leary is also the home run leader for Boston College. Speaking of which, he has the most in the BB Core bat era since 2011 already, with 13 on the season. 14, excuse me. 14 home runs, but that would lead Boston College all time since 2011, which is very impressive.
Absolutely, 14 home runs is the 5th most in program history for a single season. 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Finley, 32 of Notre Dame's 37 games played this season, which is just bananas.
Oh, and he's going to take that right off his ankle, foul ball right there. He's going to walk it off. He's a strong guy, Carter Putz, and head coach Link Jarrett mentioned about how he's been through it all just about. And Carter Putz waves off his athletic coaches right there, and that's just the type of talent and dedication that Carter Putz has and brings to this team. I'm sure it hurts. It really does. But the fact that he just got up, walked it off, he said that I've been here before, is why head coach Link Jarrett made him one of the captains this season.
Putz, a senior, native of Belton, Missouri. Has played significant time in each season since arriving on campus. Drove in a run yesterday via the single, but is just 2 for 10 thus far in this series. 1-2, laced the other way, but just foul. One, two, swing and a miss, strike three. Putz goes chasing, and it's the 4th strikeout in the early going for Sean Hard.
And we mentioned how Sean Hard came into this game with 34 strikeouts, now at 38 strikeouts through about 27 innings pitched so far. Very impressive numbers for Hard.
Ziska pops one up right side. Leary, Gold, and Vetrano all ranging after it, and Leary gloves it for out number 2.
Nice play right there. We saw how in game 2, Boston College really struggled to catch some of those pop-ups on the line when all of their players ran over there. So you had the second baseman, Luke Gold, Joe Vetrano, the first baseman, and Cameron Leary all there, but they're able to eventually make the play with Leary catching it.
And none of these pop-ups are routine plays. As you take a look at the flags out in left field, plenty of wind blowing here inside Frank Eck Stadium. (1-0) to Nick Jouer is cut on and missed. And one thing about dealing with the wind, Sam, Coach Jarrett spoke about, it provides his team with a bit of a home field advantage. Players used to fielding balls both in the infield and outfield, dealing with windy weather like this. So when teams from different areas come in and aren't as used to it, advantage to Notre Dame defensively.
And that was something that he really credited head coach Link Jarrett. He spoke highly about the defense that they play. He said all of his outfielders could cover every single part of the field, among the best he's ever coached. And he said his infield also can make star-studded plays. I mean, we've seen Jack Brannigan this series alone make some insane behind-the-back plays and throw them across the diamond. As Nick Jouer is going to get a single up the middle right there. Solid hit. Put it right back up towards the pitcher, and good things happen.
Jouer is having himself a series. It's now the 5th time that he's reached base. 6th time this series that he has reached base. Had a 3-hit performance in game 1. Did not play yesterday in game 2, but has reached base both times up today in game 3. Look out. Some high heat from Hard.
We've seen a couple of pitches today from Hard that slip out of the way. As much as he's been striking out the Irish, he's had a couple of pitches that have come very close with 2-hit batters already so far.
One 0 to Brannigan. Grounded sharply left side and just foul.
Really, really close. Almost an extra base hit right there for Brannigan, especially with the speed that he provides. Just unfortunate with how the ball lands.
After that bunt got down on Friday in game 1, though, I don't think Brannigan can be complaining about too many foul balls going his way or not.
I've never seen anything like that bunt that Brannigan laid down. That was perfect. It was like the Force from Star Wars stopped it right there. It was just out of this world.
Even bigger day at the plate for Brannigan yesterday, though. career day, 4 for 4 at the plate with 3 runs batted in. 1-1. Drilled out towards left, but it's hooking foul and bounces over the Notre Dame bullpen. Jack Brannigan, just a do-it-all player for this Notre Dame team. Can field it excellently at third base, has 3 saves, had 3 saves last season on the mound as a pitcher. Batted just under 300. Led the team with 12 doubles last season.
And I think that's what makes Brannigan so unique, is that he provides so much to this team, can almost play any single position you ask him to, has the speed, has the power. I wouldn't go so far as to say that maybe when teams start to scout him and he goes to declare for the draft, they start calling him the next Shohei Ohtani. That's a really high role to fill, but Ohtani's throwing 96 to 100 miles per hour. Brannigan's throwing 96 to 100 miles per hour. All of them can steal. Shohei Ohtani can steal bases. Brannigan can steal bases. Brannigan can play outfield. Shohei Ohtani can play outfield. Not far-fetched to call that.
Speaking of stealing bases, Nick Jouer just took a bag of his own. Got an excellent jump and is now in scoring position with 2 outs and a full count on Brannigan. Throw was obviously off the mark, but Jouer with speed likely would have made it a big bang-bang play on a good throw either way. 4th stolen base of the game for Notre Dame. 3-2 pitch, drilled and through for a base hit. Being held up at third is Jouer. On his way to second is Brannigan, and Brannigan is in safely with a double. Blazing speed by Brannigan.
Have yourself a series so far. 6 for 8 on the day so far. Just blazing speed, as you said. Love that hit right there. Keeps his eyes on the ball as he follows through. Immense power. And then I love the aggressiveness. He could have easily stayed at first base, but he went in. The ball's off the bag, and he is up there in second base.
Not a single hesitation on that turn from first base. Brannigan was thinking, too, the entire way. And now Notre Dame, 2 runners in scoring position and 2 outs for the catcher, Danny Neary. Hard drops in a first pitch strike. One to Neary. Big swing and a miss. Now 0-2. Notre Dame 3 for 7 at the plate already with runners in scoring position. 3 for 9 with runners on. Turning the tide on that game 1 where they had 14 hits and just 4 runs to show for it. Oh-2 popped up. Shallow center field. It's going to be a long run for Walsh. And the play is made by second baseman Luke Gold. But a near collision out in center field. Gold stabs it, and that'll do it. Through 3 innings, Notre Dame maintaining a 2-0 lead. Through 3 innings, the freshman left-hander Jack Finley for Notre Dame has given up just 1 hit. And Boston College has no runs to show for it. 5th start of the season for the freshman Finley. And his numbers were excellent coming into this game, and he has continued to add to them. Delivers back-to-back balls to Luke Gold. Gold just made the final out of the inning in shallow center on a dangerous blooper. And now sends one out towards deep left, but foul. After grounding out to short his first time up in the first inning, Luke Gold is now 4 for his last 27 at the plate, but still maintaining a batting average just one tick under .330 for the year. Having quite the season at the plate is the junior from Ballston, New York, Luke Gold. He has 18 doubles to lead the team, one of the top numbers in the Atlantic Coast Conference, and 26 total extra base hits. As he pops one out towards right field, Coetzee works under it and snags it for out number 1.
And I love how Finley battles back in that at-bat. He's down. He has Gold in a count of 3-1, works his way back and gets him to fly out to Coetzee in right field. That's the talent and that's the ability that he has, and that's what Coach Jarrett has been speaking highly of, is that Finley is able to create these sort of situations for himself where he's able to battle back, and that is something that the Irish have been trying to work on desperately over the course of the season, is having consistency with their pitching, and so far Finley has been consistent through 4.
We saw another freshman do well on the mound in this series for Notre Dame. As the 0-1 to Vetrano drops in for a strike. In Radek Burkholz in game 1, it was a loss for Notre Dame, but Burkholz threw 4 innings, struck out 7 batters, and did not allow a hit.
I've never seen anything like that, especially for a freshman who has been struggling. Radek Burkholz was able to retire all 12 batters he faced and not give up any walks, any hits, had 7 strikeouts, and that was fantastic work. And then once again, when we spoke to head coach Link Jarrett, he mentioned that he wanted to see more out of the freshman, out of the bullpen, and he did just that, so that's impressive going forward for the Irish as we turn the calendar in May.
Finley, 2-2 to Vetrano, is blasted out towards center and deep, going back cold. He's on the track, leaps, and it's over the wall. Second home run of this series for Joe Vetrano, and it brings the Eagles within 1 in the top of the 4th.
And it looks like Ryan Cole lost his glove over the wall. I don't know if I've ever seen anything like that. Went for the rob. He had the ball, which I'm assuming. He just pulled his glove down. That's actually really insane to think about. I'm blown away.
Vetrano got all of that one. Big power hitter, lefty. 2019 New York State Gatorade Player of the Year out of Lakeland High School. You see Cole ranging back, and that glove just completely flew off of his hand. So take another look.
It's almost like if the glove didn't fly off, he probably robs the ball. I guess maybe he shot his glove up a little bit for that extra reach.
Someone on the bench is going to have to go and retrieve that glove for Ryan Cole, but we did see DM Jefferson, a freshman on this Notre Dame team, just run out a different glove to Ryan Cole. So the game only pauses briefly. It's a new glove out there in center for Ryan Cole, and the lead is now just 1 for Notre Dame. Just the second earned run that Jack Finley has succumbed in his now 24-plus innings of work on the hill for Notre Dame. Parker Landwehr, who singled in the second, is now ahead in the count 3-1. Nerai is going to go out and talk things over with Finley, but how about the series from Joe Vitrano? Sam, 2 for 4, 2 runs scored, an RBI double in game 1. That was his 16th multi-hit game of the season on Friday. And then yesterday in game 2, 1 for 3. That one hit was a 2-run blast, also walked. And he now has a hit in 30. He has a hit in every game played this season except for 10 of them. And when you've played over 40 games in a season, that is remarkable.
Yeah, there's a reason why he's leading the Boston College Eagles in RBIs, but not to mention he has immense power. You said yesterday he hit that 2-run home run opposite field. I've never seen anything like that. I was at the game. The power just went over the wall. But also, too, a fun fact about Joe Vitrano is that he's also a left-handed pitcher. He sometimes comes in and pitches for the Eagles. Similar to Brannigan, has that high-speed fastball, and those are what players and college coaches are looking for nowadays.
Yeah, Vitrano's main role last season, as Parker Landwehr works a walk, was as a pitcher out of the bullpen for Boston College, but this year, mainly a hitter, first baseman, and you can see why Coach Gambino made this switch. Vitrano having himself a year. His 23rd extra base hit of the season just came on that home run, as Jack Finley just walked his second batter of the afternoon, and it brings Rafe Chalmette back to the plate. And he takes a big cut and miss on the first pitch he sees. Back-to-back big swings and misses from Chalmette, who we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, hit a solo home run game 2 yesterday. And in 5 seasons at Trinity University in Texas, he batted .367 and racked up 265 hits. As Chalmette pulls one, right side, Miller. Finley in a race with Chalmette to the bag, and Chalmette beats it out.
That's just one of those bang-bang plays right there. Carter Putz is going to dive for the ball, miss it. Then Jared Miller is going to back him up. It's just a foot race there between Finley and Chalmette. Chalmette beats him out.
Finley just a little delayed getting over to first base, and the speedy Chalmette beats it out. Boston College pitched 60 innings last year and had a 2.7 ERA. Gave up just 18 earned runs in 60 inning pitch last year. This year, just under 40 innings pitched, and he's given up just 11 earned runs. But Patrick Roach gets plunked by Tyrell, and that'll load the bases. So a less than ideal start for Tyrell out of the bullpen in this game. But he does have an out already on the board, and a ground ball could get him out of the inning here.
And that's what I'm sure Tyrell is hoping for. Not only is this a must-win game for Notre Dame, which is why I'm assuming that Finley's leash was pulled pretty early, but Notre Dame needs to get this first-place spot if they want to host a regional and a super regional over Louisville. And also, too, Boston College is looking for their first ever series win in South Bend alone, and their first ACC series win this season. This is going to be very competitive, as the umpires now are, I'm assuming they're discussing about whether or not the ball hit Roach, but they're going to bring it under review right now. Maybe it hit the knob of the bat. We'll see.
Umpires will go take another look at the review, and we will as well. Patrick Roach. And so here's where it gets tricky, right? Because they have to discern whether or not Roach leaned into this pitch or not. But when you're talking about 80, 90 miles an hour, a baseball coming at you, and you have to judge reaction times.
You're going to see Tyrell's reaction right here. looks at the home plate umpire like he definitely leaned into my pitch. I threw a breaking ball.
It's always tough when that left elbow of the right-handed batters gets hit. Always a question about whether he leaned in or not nowadays with replay review. To me, honestly, it seems like he was trying to pull it back, and it just hit him in the process of him pulling his arm back.
I definitely agree with you. I mean, you could see right there. You can tell if someone leads in, and they're going to say that he's safe at first base. There was no lean in on the play, so the bases will be loaded for Tyrell.
And it's a big potential spot for Daniel Baruch. Baruch grounded out to Brannigan over at third base, his first time up. And Tyrell will try and get him to do the same. Infield is deep for Notre Dame with a one-run lead. And the potential to turn two with the bases loaded. Baruch, first pitch swinging, fouls it straight back. Back-to-back strikes delivered by Tyrell. See the numbers for Baruch. He's just 4 for his last 42 at the plate. Has started nearly every game for Boston College this season, but has not been productive at the plate as he swings and misses at that pitch. A huge strikeout picked up by Tyrell. Pardon the delay. I thought that might have been fouled off originally, but as we take another look, Baruch got none of that one. And that's a huge strikeout for Aiden Tyrell to pick up out number 2 in this inning.
And I love the pitch right there by Tyrell. He's going to throw that breaking ball in the dirt, see if Baruch will go for it. And Baruch bites on it, and Tyrell picks up the second out.
Bases remain loaded. Now 2 outs for the shortstop, 9-hole hitter Sam McNulty. McNulty walked his first time up, last inning in the third. 0-1. Misses outside. Tyrell has been great for Notre Dame all season long, but especially as of late, has not given up an earned run in his last 5 appearances for Notre Dame. McNulty checked his swing, but held up just enough. Two one inside. Nice stop by Nerai. And Sam McNulty is likely going to get a pitch he wants to hit. Bases loaded, nowhere for Tyrell to put McNulty. 3-1. Got to throw a strike here if you don't want to walk a run in. The pitch is lasered out towards left. Ziska coming on, makes Miller lifts one into the air towards center. Walsh works under it and makes the play for out number 1. That'll bring up Zach Preisner, who brought the boom yesterday, broke the game open in the first inning with one swing of the bat, and it was a big one, a grand slam out to left, gave Notre Dame an 8-0 lead that they never looked back on.
That was an absolute shot by Preisner, and that is someone that head coach Link Jarrett mentioned as someone who has sneaky power and is able to make fantastic defensive plays. There's a reason why Preisner is in the lineup again today.
Preisner singled back in the second to add to a now 6-game hit streak for the senior shortstop. And he now has a hit in 9 of his last 11 games. Starting to heat up at the exact right time. 1-1 from Schroeder is drilled towards left, and it's down for a base hit. Second hit of the afternoon for Zach Preisner. And Notre Dame has its first runner on here in the bottom of the fourth.
Solid contact all the way through that pitch right there. Preisner is getting hot at the right time, and that is something that needs to be done for the Irish as we turn the calendar in May. They need to start getting those bats more consistent, and one of the bats that has been consistent so far over the last 2 or 3 weeks has been Preisner.
Now it's the leadoff hitter, Ryan Cole, who lost his glove in center trying to track down Joe Vitrano's home run, but has the right bat now at the plate. Was hit by a pitch in the first inning, and then is the one who drove in both of Notre Dame's runs in the second on a liner out towards center. Cole fouls that pitch off. Schroeder has been hot and cold on the mound for Boston College his last 2 times out. Most recent time out pitch, just an inning, gave up 4 hits and 3 earned runs in a midweek loss to UMass Lowell. But his last time against ACC competition, as the 0-2 to Cole is well outside, he pitched 3 innings against Virginia Tech and gave up no earned, had 3 walks and 4 strikeouts. So Coach Gambino hoping they get the Virginia Tech Schroeder and not the UMass Lowell one this afternoon.
You can see Schroeder keeping Preisner close on the bag, something Notre Dame already has 4 stolen bases through the first 4 innings of the game. They're not trying to let anyone get into scoring position right now because they have been taking over the field just about on base running.
One-two to Cole, grounded to Roach at short. He picks it nicely, and the throw is off target. Pulls Vitrano off the bag. Cole is going to be safe on the throwing error by Patrick Roach. And Notre Dame now has 2 on with just 1 out.
And what I love about Ryan Cole is that even though he knows that that ball is hit to the third baseman, he just keeps his head down through the line and keeps running to the end of the play. We see more often than not many players, especially in the major leagues, give up on plays like that, but that's what Ryan Cole offers to this team, is that hard work and dedication, and I'm sure it sets a good example for everyone on the bench.
That was the 9th error of the season for Patrick Roach over at third base. As Coatsy calls time in the box, it was a nice play to stab that baseball and glove it on the charge. Not an easy play for Roach to make by any means. As Coatsy shows bunt, Notre Dame continuing to be aggressive in terms of the small ball. Preisner had a big lead off of second. Coatsy was definitely trying to put that one down, but pulled back just in time to take the ball. Coatsy is 0 for 2 with 2 flyouts. Notre Dame in search of its 5th ACC series win in this rubber match against Boston College. Irish are 29-8 overall in head coach Link Jarrett's 2.5, we'll call it, seasons at the helm of Notre Dame. And over the past 3 seasons, Notre Dame has the 3rd best winning percentage in all of college baseball under head coach Link Jarrett. Currently in 2nd place in the Atlantic Division of the ACC. sniffing down the back of Louisville. As Coetzee fouls it off. We saw a hit and run play called earlier in this game with Coetzee at the plate. And I believe that was another one. Both runners took off. Coetzee swung away. First time he flied out. This time he fouled it off.
I love how Coach Link Jarrett uses Coetzee. You can make him lay down the bunt, but he's also your home run leader, and he has that power. So you can always you can always green light him to hit a bomb. But if you need him to lay down the small ball or do something like a hit and run, he could do just that, and that's what he offers.
Nice snag over at first by Vetrano, taking at least a single away from Coetzee. Nice contact by the senior, but Vetrano up to the test.
You got air on that play right there. Michael Jordan sort of air right there. Maybe not as high, but that's a nice play by Vetrano. He's smiling over at first base.
And with the speed of Cole and Preisner on the base paths, almost a sure thing that at least one of them was going to come in to score if that ball gets down the line. So Vetrano drove in the run on the solo shot and is now taking runs away defensively over at first. Parker Landwehr delivering some defensive calls to his infield. So now Carter Putz, 0 for 2 on the afternoon, struck out last inning. That ball is lifted in the air to shallow center. Walsh fell down and it drops. Both runs are going to come in to score. Sliding into second is Carter Putz, and it's a 4-1 Notre Dame lead.
Not too sure what happened on the play right there. Just looks like Barry Walsh slips over his leg and just falls right in the middle of the shamrock. We're going to see on the replay right there. That ball is popped up. And Barry Walsh is going to run, and he just slips right there on the top of the shamrock, and the ball is going to fall down. That's just very unfortunate for Walsh, who is normally a solid defensive center field.
Boston College has at least one error in every single game of this series. They had some defensive mishaps in the beginning of Game 2 yesterday. And Barry Walsh has now has two curious plays out in center field. We spoke about the factor that the wind plays here in South Bend definitely played a role in that last pop-up from Putz. Still 2 outs. Putz leads off of second. 2 runs are in for Notre Dame. The 0-2 to Ziska is chopped to Roach at third. He fields it, fires to first in time to gun down Ziska. Notre Dame adds 2 more after the defensive mishap by Barry Walsh out in center. Through 4 innings here in South Bend, it's Notre Dame holding a 4-1 lead over Boston College. And leading off the inning for BC is their center fielder, Barry Walsh, who is having an uncharacteristically sloppy defensive game out in center field. All 4 runs for Notre Dame have come in on hits out towards center. And this is what just happened last inning. Putz pops one out up towards center. Walsh fell down almost immediately trying to come in on it, and 2 runs came in to score for Notre Dame. Walsh unable to recover after the initial fall.
And it also doesn't help Walsh's case that earlier in the game he almost had a 2-run home run that was robbed by Ryan Cole. Ryan Cole taking what Barry Walsh normally does and just showing him what he could do at home against Barry Walsh.
Walsh is typically an excellent defender out in center field. Has multiple highlight reel home run robs this season. Sometimes the turf monster gets to you. The wind also does not make it easy to be playing outfield here in South Bend. And the first one he had in his glove. Toughest play to make as an outfielder is the ball hit right at you. Ryan Cole drilled one directly at him, and Walsh tried to make a sliding play. That was back in the bottom of the second. 2 runs came in to score after the ball poked out of the glove of Walsh. Trying to make up for it at the plate. Chops it to Brannigan at third, and he is oh so smooth on those throws across the diamond. 1 out here in the top of the 5th.
I think Jack Brannigan might be my favorite player to watch in the infield. He waits patiently for the ball. He's not trying to rush there. And as someone who's never played third base really growing up, more of a shortstop, center field pitcher kind of guy, he just has that talent. And you can't teach that sort of thing, especially to Jack Brannigan. It's natural, it's smooth, it's clean, it's flashy. I love it. I could watch it all day.
Cameron Leary sends a charge into one to deep right, and you can forget about that one. A long home run off the bat of Cameron Leary, his second this series, and Boston College is within 2.
And now that is going to be Cameron Leary's 15th home run on the season, which now leads the most in the BB Core bat era for Boston College. Now, the home run record for Boston College is by Sean McGowan in 1999, who, head coach Mike Gambino was a part of on that team. So does Cameron Leary catch up over the next month of May? We'll see, but he's only 10 away so far, and he's gotten 2 through the first in the series against Notre Dame.
How about the power from Leary, an absolute no-doubter. Brooks Coates out in right field, barely even moved, just looked up and watched it fly. Leary finding success at the plate in this series as Gold sends one up the middle. Spinning play by Preisner, and the throw is in time to gun down Luke Gold. Oh, what a sweet play over at short by Zach Preisner.
And these are the fantastic plays that head coach Link Jarrett talked about that Preisner can make. Look at that. He has the momentum, spins, sets his feet, and throws that ball to Carter Putz. Putz is off the bag a little bit, but is able to hold on and extend and get the out on Luke Gold right there. That is fantastic playing right there, and that's the defense that head coach Link Jarrett is looking for in this infield.
Count now 2-0 on the dangerous Joe Vitrano, who already has a home run this game that came last inning to center field. Vitrano and Leary have been the offensive catalysts for Boston College thus far this series. 3-0, and he walked him on 4 pitches.
Good eye right there for Joe Vitrano.
Now the 1-2 to Landwehr is poked out towards center. It's going to get down for a base hit. A big turn around second. Vitrano takes. Cole was ready to fire it in if necessary, but back-to-back base runners on with 2 outs in the inning for Boston College.
And I love how quickly that Ryan Cole gets to that ball. Vitrano took that big turn around second, but as soon as he saw that Cole had the ball, he wasn't going to try it.
That brings up Rafe Shamet. Chalmette getting the start as the designated hitter for Boston College after homering yesterday. Singled last inning. As Tyrell paints the outside corner for strike number 1 in the at-bat. One, up and in for ball 2. Chalmette, someone who is now closing in on 300 hits for his career. Native of Sugar Land, Texas, transfer from Trinity University. Takes a big cut and miss on that 2-1 offering from Tyrell. Even the count at 2-2. Chalmette has not had the same success at Boston College that he did at Trinity University, but anybody who puts up over 270 hits at one school can really swing it at the plate. He pokes one out towards left. Ziska ranging for
Florida State. They were ranked 5th in the nation at one point, and now they are unranked, but they were able to go into Texas Christian University, who we just saw was on the map as one of the top-ranked 16 teams, and take the series from them. The ACC is extremely competitive, and that's why this game matters most.
Jouer drills one deep right field and off the base of the wall. Have yourself a weekend, Nick Jouer. It's a leadoff double to start the bottom of the 5th.
Nick Jouer is making the most out of his time filling in today at the designated hitter role. Just launches that to the outfield wall in right center field. Nice hit by Nick Jouer.
Jouer was 3 for 5 with 2 runs scored in game 1 on Friday. Reached base 4 times in that game. And here in game 3 of the crucial rubber match, he's 2 for 2 with a walk and a run scored already. Brannigan pops up the bunt. It gets past the outstretched arms of Schroeder. Headed to second is Brannigan. The throw goes off his helmet. Jouer's going to come in to score. Brannigan trying to go to third, and he is gunned down at third base. What a wild sequence that was. It's going to be a run scored by Nick Jouer for Notre Dame to make it 5-2. And Jack Brannigan, being about as aggressive as you could possibly be on the base paths, eventually gets thrown out at third.
I have no clue. I'm still trying to process what happens right there. First, Schroeder misses the ball. Then he gets it, throws it off of Brannigan's head. Look at this. Brannigan's going to go in, beat out Luke Gold. He's going to slide in. He's going to hit the top of his head. Then he's going to get up, not knowing where the ball is. Thinks it went the other way. It goes to left field, and then he's going to slide in and get thrown out. I like the aggressiveness right there as Danny Neareye grounds out right there. But what a wild sequence of events.
Saw earlier in the game, Brannigan singled out towards left and sprinted all the way to second base, taking an extra bag. And now this time, Brannigan had second on that bunt and then tried to stretch it to third. Probably should have figured out where the baseball was before he headed to third base, but the run did come in. So I believe that's going to be an RBI bunt by Jack Brannigan. He popped it up, not what you want to do with the bunt, but Schroeder was not able to get there. Popped it up just enough. So now there's 2 outs, nobody on. Jared Miller at the plate.
Those sequence of events feel like something out of MLB The Show 22, one of those fun baseball games that you play, NBA 2K, for example, where it's just some wacky glitch that occurs right there. The pitcher dives for the ball, completely misses it, then throws it, hits off the batter's head, and then he goes to third, and then you somehow get thrown out. I love those sorts of plays. They're really fun to watch, and I'm sure it will be on a highlight reel not too long after the game.
Miller goes opposite field for a base hit. And the inning is still alive for this Notre Dame team. First hit of the afternoon for Jared Miller. Shortstop Zach Preisner now takes his digs. He's 2 for 2 with 2 singles thus far. Came around to score last inning. Both runs that came in last inning for Notre Dame, it's been listed as a double by Carter Putz. Although Barry Walsh lost his footing, fell down, couldn't come up with it. It stands as a hit and a double for Carter Putz. Schroeder trying to keep Miller close at first. And you see the effects of a team stealing bases at will in the early parts of a game. Schroeder and Hard afterwards continue to be pestered by base runners over at first, trying to keep them close. And as a pitcher, when you're too focused on the runner over at first or second, it takes your focus away from making the necessary pitches to get the batter out.
And I think that's an advantage that Notre Dame has, is by always getting in the pitcher's head. We always see, any game you watch of the Fighting Irish, Link Jarrett cannot stress it enough to his players, get in their head, and they are able to do just that with players like Ryan Cole, Jared Miller, and Zach Preisner, who are known for stealing bases. And you could see it all entire game. They already have 4 stolen bases through 5 innings, and both pitchers today for the Eagles have been losing their mind.
Again, Schroeder checks Miller over at first. Runner goes. Swinging away is Preisner. He grounds it right to Vetrano at first, who steps. Denny's is a sophomore. He pitched just 3 innings last season. Gave up 7 hits, 5 earned runs, and 2 walks in those 3 innings last year. Played his high school baseball at Archbishop Rummel. Was a state champion back in 2019. And Patrick Roach lofts one out towards center in the gap, and it one-hops the wall. And Patrick Roach has himself a leadoff double to start the top of the 6th for BC.
Just a nice hit by Roach right there. Solid contact. Ryan Cole is going to get there, play the hop beautifully, get it in, and prevent him from going even further. Patrick Roach has the speed to make a triple out of that play right there, but he's going to get holed up at second by Ryan Cole.
Patrick Roach was 2 for 4 with a 2 RBI single yesterday. Leads off this 6th with a double. And now Daniel Baruch takes a first pitch ball from Denny's. Baruch is 0 for 2 on the afternoon, struck out back in the 4th inning. Back-to-back balls well outside of the strike zone from Denny's. Now 3 straight balls from Denny's And pitching coach Chuck Ristano is making his way over.
Fine. You've been great all season. There's nothing to worry about. And it works because he throws a strike right down the middle for that one.
Come on, Daddy boy. I'm ready.
3-1. Big swing and a miss from Baruch. And Denny's has worked his way back into the count. It's 3-2. Payoff pitch, drilled out towards left field, and it gets down for a base hit. Stopping at third is Patrick Roach. And Daniel Baruch just picked up his first hit of the afternoon. Boston College in business with 2 runners on and nobody out here in the top of the 6th.
Not the most ideal start for Jackson Denny's to come into this game and allow a double and a single, but you still have that 3-run lead. Sam McNulty is coming up to the plate. McNulty currently on the season is batting. McNulty is coming up to the plate on the season, batting 190 with just 2 home runs, but Link Jarrett is making a call to the bullpen, it looks like. Doesn't like what he sees.
Jackson Denny's afternoon is over after just 2 batters. And a new pitcher will be on the hill when we come back from break. Senior left-hander Will Mercer is the new pitcher for Notre Dame, making his 7th appearance of the season. Not a lot of innings pitched this season for Mercer, but he was one of their most reliable arms last season. Started 11 games on the mound for Notre Dame, and this season not a whole lot of production, but the numbers are solid.
The numbers are solid, and Will Mercer is being called on in this role for his experience. The senior pitcher is coming into this game after Jackson Denny's gave up 2 hits back-to-back in the first 2 batters he faced. Head coach Link Jarrett is going to ask Will Mercer to get these next 3 outs here and prevent any run damage from occurring.
Mercer, native of Houston, Texas. Played his high school baseball at Strake Jesuit College Prep. First pitch from Mercer to the shortstop, Sam McNulty, is a ball. Mercer has given up 3 earned runs each of his last 2 times out. As McNulty pokes one out towards right, and it's going to drop in for a base hit. Patrick Roach scores easily from third. It's an RBI single for Sam McNulty, and Boston College is back within 2 runs.
Boston College is just battling back right now, and that is something that we saw them do yesterday. They were able to score 4 runs and cut the lead 8-4 after giving up 8 runs in the first inning. They came all the way back. This is a team that has a lot of fight in them, and if we go back and when we talked to head coach Link Jarrett, he said that this team is talented. They were just in ACC tournament play last season, and they have dangerous at-bats. And according to head coach Link Jarrett, he called this series a super regional series. So that's a lot of high praise for a Boston College team that is currently sitting at 4-19 in ACC play. That is very well praised by head coach Link Jarrett.
Barry Walsh, top of the order for Boston College. 0 for 3 at the plate, not having the best day out in center field. How nice would it be for Barry Walsh to get something done at the plate? So we take a look at some defensive miscues out in center by Walsh. Nearly came up with that excellent diving play on the liner from Ryan Cole. And then in the 4th, this is a pop-up by Carter Putz, but it turns into a 2 RBI double because Walsh lost his footing out in center.
And not to mention, too, that wasn't in the package right there. he also had a home run robbed from him by Ryan Cole. It's just all around been a bad day for Barry Walsh, and now has the opportunity to at least tie the game or put his team up.
Barry Walsh did hit a solo home run to open the scoring for this series in Game 1 on Friday. Swing and a miss, strike 3. First out of the inning picked up by Will Mercer via the strikeout. And Barry Walsh is 0 for 4 on the afternoon. Some absolute filth in the dirt from the senior Mercer.
Just a great pitch by Mercer to come on there. You know, you give up the hit to McNulty, you battle back in the second time around, threw a strike every single pitch to Walsh and gets the strikeout. But now this brings up Cameron Leary, who's a dangerous at-bat here. We watched it earlier in the fifth inning, hit an absolute bomb into right field over Brooke Coates's head. And this is a batter I wouldn't want to face right now, but I'm sure Mercer has been there before and can handle a situation like this.
Lot of power off the bat of Cameron Leary. 0-1 is blasted. Deep right field, hooking. Foul ball. My, oh my. A towering shot from Cameron Leary, who leads this team with 15 home runs on the year. And he nearly gave Boston College the lead with one swing of the bat. A home run in this game, hit a 3-run shot in Game 1, and quite nearly made it 3 home runs on the weekend.
Not too bad of a weekend, if I do say so myself. The ball just, I thought it was gone from the booth. I was like, wow, what a shot right there. But fortunately, luck is on the side of the Irish this time.
1-2 to Leary in the dirt. Nice block by Nerai. Leary did well to hold up there on that ball in the dirt. Dangerous spot for Mercer. Middle of the order for Boston College. The 2-2. He got him. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Leary down on strikes. Back-to-back massive strikeouts for the senior Will Mercer. And there's now 2 outs in the top of the 6th.
After almost giving up the home run, that is an excellent pitch to throw and get the strikeout against Cameron Leary. Literally inches from possibly changing the game, but is able to battle back, and this is exactly why Mercer is called on in these sorts of situations. He has the experience.
Brings up the 3-hole hitter, Luke Gold. Gold pops one up towards right field, and it's going to land in the Boston College bullpen. Coatsy gave chase. There was no play to be made. This inning started with a Patrick Roach double to center. Then Daniel Baruch singled to move Patrick Roach over to third. Sam McNulty then singled in Roach as that ball is blasted towards right, and it's off the bottom of the wall. Baruch will score easily. Play at the plate, gets cut off. It's a 2-run double for Luke in his bat. A chance for Boston College to take the lead. A win today would give Boston College their first ACC series victory of the entire season. And as we've spoken about at length this weekend, Sam, Boston College has never won a series here inside the confines of Frank Eck Stadium. Which is Toronto takes strike two.
Which is wild to believe because it's just, think of it. There was a stadium before Frank Eck Stadium. Boston College has never won a series in South Bend. South Bend has always favored the Irish. And so that just absolutely blows my mind. And also looking at it, too, in the ACC series, the Irish are 15-3-1 in ACC series over the past 2+ seasons under head coach Link Jarrett. So to drop an ACC series like this to the Boston College Eagles when you're fighting for that #1 spot would be awful and would really require a lot of attention and work.
And at home, Notre Dame is 6-1-1 in home ACC series against Coach Jarrett. Staggering numbers. But Coach Jarrett has completely rejuvenated and revitalized this Notre Dame baseball program since taking over. His first season was the shortened 2020 season. Last year, his first full season as head coach, and Notre Dame goes as deep in the postseason as they've ever been. 3-2 to Vetrano is fouled back. And just wrapping up that point, deep in the postseason, as deep compared to the 2002 team that was honored this weekend that advanced all the way to the College World Series. It's been a long time coming since Notre Dame baseball was a threat in the landscape of college baseball, but they certainly are last season and this season as well, as Mercer walks Joe Vetrano, and Boston College continues to pass the baton in this top of the 6th.
It has been a long inning for the Irish. I'm sure that they're waiting to get back on offense for the bats. There's nothing you can do about it. And it looks like head coach Link Jarrett is coming out to the mound. He's going to pull Mercer after allowing the game to be tied.
You're exactly right, Sam. Mercer's afternoon is done, and when we come back, Notre Dame will have a new pitcher. What a series all-time this has been between Boston College and Notre Dame. The Fighting Irish have the advantage overall, but Boston College with a prime chance to win the first ever series on the road against Notre Dame. And the new pitcher for Notre Dame is a freshman that Boston College has already seen in this series, Roman Kimball. Kimball, who pitched an inning in the Game 1 loss for Notre Dame, gave up 2 hits, 1 run, and a walk. And another freshman getting a crucial opportunity for Coach Jarrett's squad.
And Coach Jarrett mentioned that he wanted to see more of the 3 freshman pitchers in Finley, Kimball, and Burkholz make their opportunities and make their appearances out of the bullpen. But Finley got the start today, but normally comes out of the bullpen for the most part. Wanted to really see these 3 freshmen develop, and by giving them opportunities today really will help them going forward with the ACC championships coming up and the regionals and so on with postseason play.
Absolutely right, Sam. Kimball making his 13th appearance of the season. That ball is drilled deep left field. It's out of here. Parker Landwehr drills a 3-run blast to left, and Boston College takes a 3-run lead.
And that was just a no-doubter home run for Landwehr. Landwehr has really been struggling to get it going this series and just hits a bomb and puts Boston College up 8-5. and this has gone from bad to worse for the Irish. That was just a no-doubter. You just hear it come right off the bat. Just watch it fly, baby. Fly, Eagles, fly right now. This is what's going on.
Kimball is the third pitcher in the inning for Notre Dame, and Boston College has scored 6 runs in this top of the 6th alone. The biggest blow, which just came off the bat of Parker Landwehr. His 9th home run of the season. And it was a big one. Gives Boston College a 3-run lead.
This has been very characteristic, however, of Boston College. They usually pick one inning just at random because it is baseball, and they go off. They will score a whole bunch of runs in one singular inning. We look at the 4th inning in the first game when they hit 2 home runs off of John Michael Bertrand. We look at yesterday's game when they were able to score 4 runs in the 8th inning. Excuse me, not in the 8th inning. They were able to score 4 runs in 1 inning in the 4th inning to make it a halfway game, and now we're seeing this right here. They're scoring 6 runs in just the 6th inning alone.
Just remarkable when you talk about the fight and competitive fervor of Coach Gambino's Boston College squad, team that is ranked last in the ACC, but has really come to play this weekend. And they seem energized and determined to take this series away from Notre Dame.
You know, whenever they always talk about it in just any sports, whenever you're playing someone in your conference or in your division and you have a rivalry, you always play a little bit extra to get those wins, no matter what it is. You could really derail Notre Dame's season here, and Kimball will strike out Shamet on the play, but the Boston College Eagles will score 6 in 1 inning.
8-5 Boston College lead as we head to the bottom of the 6th. For the first time this afternoon, Eric Schroeder is going to be pitching with a lead for Boston College. The Eagles erupted for a 6-run top of the 6th, which is why they lead by 3 as Ryan Cole leads off the bottom half of the inning for Notre Dame. 3rd inning of work in relief for Schroeder, who has given up 5 hits, 3 of which are doubles, and 1 earned through the first 2 innings that he's pitched. Cole chops one left side and foul.
And then if you're head coach Mike Gambino, this is probably the best asking of relief you could ask. Schroeder's able to come in right now, give up a couple of hits, only allow 1 run, and then your team goes out and gives him the lead. That you got to be feeling really confident.
That ball is grounded over to Patrick Roach at 3rd. He's unable to get a clean glove on it. And as a matter of fact, that is going to be the 3rd error of this game for 3rd baseman Patrick Roach. Came into this game with 8 errors on the season and has 3 in this game 3 alone.
Despite Boston College being up right now, it has been a rough day for both Patrick Roach and Barry Walsh in center field. Just the turf is not treating them very well today.
Brooks Coetzee swings and misses at the first pitch he sees. Notre Dame has brought at least a run across in each of the last 2 innings. They've now got their leadoff runner on in Ryan Cole, who has 3 stolen bases himself through 5 innings in this game. Schroeder will undoubtedly be checking back on Cole at first. Coetzee drills one right field, curving, and it's foul. Would have been extra bases for Brooks Coetzee had it landed in fair territory, but instead, he's now behind 0-2.
So close, and that's why baseball sometimes and football are just both games of inches. We saw last inning Cameron Leary almost hit a home run just by a couple of inches. Brooke Coatsy, same situation, almost has an extra base hit, missed by a couple of inches.
And Coatsy rifles one right up the middle. Cole will go to third from first. It's a missile of a single off the bat of Brooks Coatsy. And that was another hit and run play, I believe. Third time this game that a hit and run has been called for Brooks Coatsy. And you see the shortstop on your screen going over to cover second base. It didn't look like Cole was taking off, so a bit confusing why McNulty was headed to second.
I just like the play design, and that's just a solid hit by Brooks Coatsy. I wouldn't call it. Kind of broke it broke Sam McNulty's ankles at shortstop. Nice hit and run there, and I like how they're using Coatsy today. Third time's a charm.
Putz takes a first pitch ball. Really cannot execute a hit and run better than just that. Cole about to take off. Shortstop goes to cover, and Coatsy hits it exactly where McNulty would have been. So now it's 2 runners on and nobody out for Notre Dame. Putz chops one over to third. Cole is coming home. The throw from Roach is well off the mark. Cole will be safe at home. Moving to third is Coatsy. Second is Carter Putz. And Patrick Roach just picked up his 4th error of the game. And it's resulted in a run for Notre Dame. The Irish now down by just 2.
Put the ball in play, good things will happen. Carter Putz once again finds himself at the benefit of the doubt of someone else's mishap. Reaches second base as he did earlier with.
And Nick Jouer is 2 for 2 with a walk thus far this game. He's 5 for 7 this series and doubled to right field his last time up back in the 5th. Ball misses up and away, now 2-0 on Jouer. Left-hander Kuhn is from Duxbury, Massachusetts. Has given up a lot of hits this year, 26 hits given up in just 19 innings pitched, and his opponents are batting .330 against him. 2-0, drilled down the left field line and foul.
So close. Once again, game of inches. But speaking of which, we've seen the Boston College Eagles shy away from using their bullpen as much, and part of that has to do with owning the worst ERA in the ACC at a 7.19 in the conference, or number 12 in strikeouts. Head coach Mike Gambino is trying to keep his pitchers out there as long as possible.
(2-1) to Jouer. Lifted in the air towards left. Daniel Baruch snags it for the first out of the inning. Charlie Kuhn comes in and retires the first batter he faced.
Third baseman number 9, Jack Brannigan. Here you go, Chuck. A lot of comments out there, too. So I'm down there. Go, Chucky.
Now it's Jack Brannigan's turn for Notre Dame. Brannigan also doubled his last time up in the 5th. It's about as wacky of a double as you could possibly have, though, Sam, on that bunt that he popped up. Ended up being thrown out at third base on what was a wild sequence, but it ended up as an RBI double for Brannigan.
That bunt double reminds me of one of my favorite players growing up, Robinson Cano, back when he was on the Yankees. He had this similar play where he had a bunt double, and someone like Cano is much bigger than Jack Brannigan, but still they were able, same sequence of events almost. If you go back and watch it, Robinson Cano is able to get a bunt double, and that's just, I love the game of baseball because it's so unpredictable, and we saw it right there. But in terms of Jack Brannigan being up now at the plate, this is the best bat you could ask for right now. He's been the hottest hitter for the Irish over the course of this weekend series, and he is going to get another hit right there on a hit and run play.
hit and run to perfection for the second time this inning. Notre Dame sends a runner from first to third. Irish have 2 runners in scoring position for David Lamanna. Grad student catcher who is batting in place of Danny Nerai. Nerai had a solid day catching behind the plate. One and one count on David Lamanna, who yesterday went 2 for 4 at the plate, scored 2 runs, and in game 1 was 3 for 5 with a run scored and an RBI single. He's 5 for 9 in this series, and how about this? He's 13 for his last 26 at the plate, batting .500 over his last 26 plate appearances.
Between Lamanna, Miller, and Jouer, I can't tell you who's been, and Brannigan even now, I can't tell you at the bottom of the lineup for the Fighting Irish who has been the hottest hitter. They are all on fire, and it's equating to a bunch of runs, and it's really keeping the Irish in the games, that you would normally think that they would, yeah.
A lineup that can hurt you from top to bottom. 2-1 in the dirt. Lamanna did not go around. And he's now likely going to get a pitch he likes to hit. Ahead in the count, 3-1. Ziska leads off of third. He drove in 2 runs in the bottom half of this inning. Brannigan is on second. And they elect to offer up first base to Lamanna with the count at 3-1. So the bases are going to be loaded, still 1 out. And the grad student, Jared Miller, stepping up to the plate. You've got to imagine Miller, with the experience that he has a bit of a chip on his shoulder seeing someone get put on first base. Boston College would rather face Miller than continue to pitch to Lamanna. See a great overhead view of the infield alignment for Boston College. Middle infielders are deep, playing the double play. Corner infielders are in on the grass. And Miller takes a first pitch strike.
Miller's one of the team captains here, so as you said, I'm sure he has a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. There's a reason why he's the captain, and he's probably thinking in his head right now, fine, walk him, watch this, and he's going to try to make some damage against Joey Ryan right now.
That ball is blasted deep right field, and you can forget about that one. A grand slam for Jared Miller breaks this game open and gives Notre Dame a 12-8 lead.
I'm just laughing right now. That's why I didn't speak right away. I don't want to say I'm psychic or anything like that, but not that I called those grand slam, but Jared Miller was annoyed. He was ticked off, and he used all of his anger in that swing and just hit a grand slam. That is one of the best home runs I've ever seen. That is cold, as some people would like to say. That is ice right there. That is a beautiful hit.
Miller, the grad student, 2-time team captain, comes up big for Notre Dame in the bottom of this 6th inning. What an inning it has been. 13 runs scored combined between these two squads in this 6th inning alone. Boston College put up a 6th spot in the top of the inning, and Notre Dame has 7 runs across in this bottom of the 6th. Still just 1 out, and Ryan Cole, who led this inning off, is back up at the plate. But I'm fired up after that grand slam from Miller. What a big-time hit by the grad student. Still just one out, and Brooks Coetzee at the plate.
And funny thing enough, the Irish already have 9 runs. The last time they scored 10 or more runs in a singular inning was April 24th, 2021 against Boston College when they put up 12 runs in the 8th inning.
And that was a game they were trailing the Eagles in as well. So comebacks against Boston College becoming a bit of a trend for Notre Dame. Coetzee got things started in this inning, successfully converting on the hit and run call that sent Ryan Cole over to third base originally. He's come around to score in this inning already. Joey Ryan still yet to record an out in this inning. 0-2 to Coetzee, swing and a miss, strike 3. I take it back. Joey Ryan just recorded his first out in relief for out number 2 of this bottom of the 6th. And that brings up Carter Putz for Notre Dame. Putz swinging away, first pitch. Grounds a base hit into left field. Second hit of the afternoon for Carter Putz. "15 hits on the game for Notre Dame, and they've had double-digit hits in every game this series. They put up 14 hits in game 1, 13 hits in game 2, and now 15 hits here in game 3. Ziska pops it up. Coach Jarrett talked to us about Jack Ziska being able to benefit from the opportunities that he's been waiting for throughout his career, the senior. And he has a 2 RBI single in this inning alone to show for it.
Just when we're looking at the hits right now, 15 hits, everyone in the Notre Dame lineup outside of Danny Neary has had a hit today, which is very impressive because they did the same exact feature yesterday where 8 out of the 9 batters all had a hit, but all 9 reached base, and that is another reoccurring thing today. Everyone in the lineup reached base at least once. So it's interesting to see how the Irish have been able to be consistent, and I'm sure head coach Link Jarrett is smiling about that because he said the one thing that the offense has been missing is consistency. They just put up 42 runs last week against Wake Forest. This week they've been struggling a little bit when it comes to getting production, especially in the first game when they had, oh my God.
Ziska clobbers one, deep left, and it's out of here. The senior, Jack Ziska, launches a long home run over the Frank X Stadium sign in left. And Notre Dame leads BC 16-8.
That's 3 home runs in 1 inning right now. That is a bomb by Ziska. And this is exactly why head coach Link Jarrett says that Ziska has the sneaky power. Just look at that fly. I was in the middle of talking, and he just interrupted my call with that absolute moonshot. Hits the bat flip and then just trots the bases. The Boston College bench has been going off the entire game, especially in the top of the 6th inning when they were chirping and they were getting all crazy and going excited. Jared Miller silences them there with that bat flip.
Talk about swag from Ziska on that home run. That's one of the nicer bat flips I've seen in my day. Watched it for a bit. I'm sure Joey Ryan and head coach Gambino didn't take liking to that move from Ziska, but give credit where it's due. Ziska almost put one on the soccer field here on campus at Notre Dame. 2-1 count now on Nick Jouer.
But with Ziska's home run, we just spoke about it. The last time Notre Dame had scored 10 or more runs in an inning was last year on April 24th, and they've just reaccomplished that feature about a year and a couple of days later on the 1st of May, putting up 11 runs so far in the bottom of the 6th inning.
Come on, JR. Come on, JR.
3-1 to Jouer. Popped up right field. Coming in is Leary, and he will make the play to 2/3 innings this season. As Aiden Harrington comes off the bench and in his first at-bat rips a single right up the middle. And replacing Jack Brannigan over at third base for Notre Dame is the freshman Jack Penny, who's played in 24 games this season, native of Wakefield, Massachusetts. The top-ranked shortstop in the state of Massachusetts per perfect game. And Brannigan brings the velo, but has given up 11 hits and 10 earned runs in his 11 innings pitched coming into this appearance. Strikeout to walk numbers are electric, though. Just 6 walks in those 11 innings and 22 strikeouts. And he's already ahead 0-2 on Daniel Baruch. 0-2 pitch. Misses outside.
Just has an absolute cannon of an arm. That's all I have to say about Brannigan.
1-2 in the dirt. Eight-run lead for Notre Dame, the 2-2 in the dirt. Lamanna is now behind the plate for Notre Dame, replacing Danny Neary. Daniel Baruch has worked the count to full after being down 0-2. And it's now 4 consecutive balls from Jack Brannigan. And both of the first 2 batters have reached base for Boston College to start this top of the 7th.
Shortstop, number 28, Sam McNulty. Come on, Brandon.
Good spot for Coach Jarrett to bring Brannigan in, though, I would say, Sam, with an 8-run cushion. Doesn't have to do too much. Just try and fire in those strikes. Walk for the second batter is a bit discouraging.
Yeah, at the same time, too, bringing in Brannigan with a lead like this prevents you from digging into your bullpen and using pitchers that you've already used. Right, Alex Rayo pitched yesterday. Radic Burkholz pitched on Friday. We did see Kimball come out, but you have an 8-run cushion to play around with, and I'm sure that that's what Link Jarrett is thinking right now.
McNulty pokes a base hit out towards right to load the bases, so all 3 batters that Jack Brannigan has faced have reached base, and the bases are loaded with nobody out in the top of the 7th. Both of these teams refusing to go away despite the deficits on the scoreboard. Every inning, both teams delivering good at-bats.
This is just a battle right now, and this is the type of competition that Notre Dame will be facing in the playoffs come the end of May, beginning of June. So this is just, I mean, it's against Boston College, who may be at the bottom of the ACC, but there's still a conference opponent that you are facing, and you're going to have to deal with challenges like this. So if anything, it's good practice as as assistant pitching coach Chuck Restano goes out to talk to Brannigan and tell him to calm down a little bit.
Brannigan is the 6th pitcher that Notre Dame has thrown this game alone. Irish threw 3 pitchers in the Game 2 win yesterday and 3 pitchers in the Game 1 loss on Friday. Coach Jarrett has already dug fairly deep into the bullpen for this game, and Brannigan has looked subpar through the first 3 batters he's faced. And now the top of the order is up for Boston College and Barry Walsh. Walsh grounds one over to second base. Miller gets in front of it, fires to first, in time to get Barry Walsh out. But the runner from third scores, Aiden Harrington, to make it a 16-9 ball game.
I'm sure that ball came off the bat flying at the second baseman, Jared Miller. I mean, you think about it right now. Jack Brannigan is throwing about 96 to 100 miles per hour, and it comes off the bat of Barry Walsh, who's a pretty powerful, strong guy right there. I'm sure that ball comes off the bat around 100 something, or about 100 miles per hour right there. That's why he bobbles it a little bit, but is able to get the out and make the play.
So first out of this top of the 7th. That brings up Cameron Leary. Leary already crushed a monster shot to right earlier in this game and was inches away from another one his last time up in the 6th. Three strikeouts at the plate for Leary outside of the solo shot in the 5th. 1-1. Just off the outside half of the plate for a ball. The 2-1. Grounded over to Preisner at short. Fields it cleanly and makes a strong throw over for out number 2. Scoring in the process is Daniel Baruch to make it a 16-10 ball game.
And this is just a cushion that we talked about at the beginning of the inning that you can play around with. You're up by 8. It's okay if you give up 2 runs. You just get an inning out of Jack Brannigan before you bring on someone else in the 8th or the 9th inning possibly.
Now Luke Gold takes his digs. Last time up, Gold ripped a 2 RBI double to deep right field. That one hopped the wall and got the scoring party started for Boston College in their 6th run, half of the 6th inning. Big swing and a miss from Gold there. Evens the count at 1-1. Off speed pitch drops in for strike 2. Two outs, the 1-2. Hit well out towards deep left. Ziska on the run, makes the play. 7 walks. To LaManna in there for a strike. In his last appearance in the midweek win against Rhode Island, Moore went an inning and 2/3, gave up just 1 hit and 1 earned. Did have 2 walks, but struck out 3 as well. (3-1) to LaManna, grounded left side. Backhanded by McNulty, who makes the strong throw over to gun down LaManna.
Nice play right there by Sam McNulty, the shortstop, number 28, the freshman. All series, he's been very solid at the shortstop position, making a lot of nice backhanded plays and throwing them across the diamond for the outs. He's been fantastic in terms of defense.
A quick 2 outs for Evan Moore. And now Jared Miller, who came up with arguably the biggest hit of last inning for Notre Dame, the grand slam that gave the Irish the lead back 12-8. And it was a tie ball game at the time. David LaManna had just been intentionally walked to load the bases, and Jared Miller made Boston College pay in a big way. But this time, Evan Moore sits Miller down. We're through 7 here in South Bend. It's a 6-run lead for Notre Dame. Welcome back to South Bend. There's a great look at Notre Dame manager Link Jarrett, who has completely turned this program around and turned the Fighting Irish into one of the heavyweights in all of college baseball. Coach Jarrett was named the D1 Baseball Coach of the Year last season after winning the ACC regular season championship for Notre Dame, 25-10 in conference. The Irish were, as Joe Vitrano leads off the 8th with a single to right. But we can't understate enough the job that Coach Jarrett has done since taking over in the summer before the 2020 season as the 21st head coach in team history here in South Bend. Between 2016 and 2019, Notre Dame did not make the NCAA tournament, crack the top 25 in the national rankings, or have a winning season in those 4 years. And in the past 2.5 years with Coach Jarrett at the helm, only 2 programs have a better winning percentage in all of college baseball, and Notre Dame is well on its way to another NCAA postseason appearance.
It's just phenomenal work by head coach Link Jarrett. I remember when I came to Notre Dame as a freshman, I was like, who's Link Jarrett? And then as the season began in 2021, just Notre Dame baseball took off. When I was enrolling here, all I remember was hearing about, I didn't really hear much about Notre Dame baseball, but now you could argue that you hear just as much about Notre Dame baseball as you do Notre Dame football in terms of talent and what this team produces. Just being 1 win shy of the College World Series, there's a lot to love about head coach Link Jarrett in this program.
Of course, last year Notre Dame fell in the Super Regional to host Mississippi State, but then the Bulldogs went and won the entire thing. So a lot to be excited about around this program for Notre Dame. Coach Jarrett again has the Irish sitting around the top of the ACC. Projected to host a regional and also super regional this season. Last year, Notre Dame hosted a regional here and absolutely dominated the competition, won all 3 games, scored over 20 runs in one of those games. Last year was the best ACC finish for Notre Dame in the team's entire career in the ACC since joining the conference in 2014. Chalmette fouls that ball off. One-two pitch outside. Jack Brannigan remains on the mound for Notre Dame. Runners are on first and second. Vitrano on second as Chalmette goes down swinging. First strikeout of his relief appearance for Jack Brannigan is the first out of the inning here in the 8th.
He just dials it up right there and fans it by Chamet for a 93-mile-per-hour fastball right on the corner of the plate. Nice strikeout there by Jack Brannigan.
And he delivers a first pitch strike to Aiden Harrington. So Vetrano is on second. He led the inning off with a single. Parker Landwehr is on first. He walked in 4 pitches. And now Harrington at the plate. He was the first batter that Jack Brannigan faced last inning out of the bullpen, and he laced a single right up the middle. And he does more of the same in this at-bat. Harrington, back-to-back hits in his only plate appearances of the afternoon. And the bases are now loaded for the second time with Jack Brannigan on the mound.
Just missed the glove of Jared Miller right there at second base. Went to jump for it. Saw a similar play earlier today with Miller. It just comes so close to his glove. Just like I said, it's a game of inches at the end of the day. Just a few inches off of Miller's glove right there. But regardless, that is a single for Aiden Harrington, who has replaced Patrick Roach today after his 2 mishaps earlier in the field.
Now it's Daniel Baruch's turn. Baruch came in to score last inning after walking. He's actually scored a run after each of his last 2 plate appearances in the 6th and 7th. Pops that one out of play into the bleachers. And one lucky young fan is going to find themselves a souvenir.
The kid in the blue hoodie made the smart decision, started jumping over the bleachers. His 2 friends, I'm assuming, they're climbing right there, but he had the smart idea of just jumping over the bleachers. Nice souvenir right there.
Great to see young fans here inside Frank Eck Stadium supporting this Notre Dame baseball team. It's officially the final month of the season. ACC tournament on the horizon at the end of this month. And then the NCAA tournament starting in June. As that's a called strike 3 on Daniel Baruch. Brannigan picks up his 2nd strikeout of the afternoon. And it's a big one to get the 2nd out of the inning.
Just absolutely freezes him right there on that pitch. Look at how that breaks right there. Nasty curve. It looks like it's going to be high up in the zone. Woo! And it just drops right there. Baruch had no idea what was coming.
And when you can mix up 96 to 100 heat with that type of rotation on a breaking ball, look out. Tough for batters to hit guys like Brannigan when he can be consistent in terms of his control. It's now the 9-hole hitter, Sam McNulty, who quickly falls behind 0-2. McNulty having a solid day at the plate, 2 for 3 with that walk. But is down 0-2. Brannigan delivers, swing and a miss, strike 3. Brannigan strikes out the side in the top of the 8th, and Notre Dame holds on to a 6-run lead as the Irish come up to bat in the bottom of the 8th. Bottom of the 8th action between Notre Dame and Boston College. The Irish holding on to a 6-run lead. Evan Moore remains on the mound for the BC Eagles, and Zach Preisner, the 9-hole hitter, Notre Dame shortstop, will be on to lead things off for Notre Dame in the bottom of the 8th.
And I like what I saw from Moore in his relief appearance after Joey Ryan came up to the mound, He's able to retire the first 3 hitters that he faces and goes down in a flyout, a pop out, a ground out, and a strikeout. He's hoping to at least keep this game somewhat manageable. It's 6 runs, but from what we've seen today, Boston College and Notre Dame are capable of putting up at least 20 runs in one inning at the rate that they're going at.
Leading off for the Irish in the bottom of the 8th inning. Shortstop
Evan Moore played his high school baseball at Kingswood, Oxford. Had a 1.07 ERA as a senior. Threw a no-hitter in high school as a freshman, made 3 appearances. On the mound is Preisner, laces a base hit towards center. He's digging for second, and he will slide in safely. It's a leadoff double for Zach Preisner to start this bottom of the 8th for Notre Dame.
And we've seen this all day with almost about every single batter in the Fighting Irish lineup. They are just aggressive on the bases. You take a look at Jack Brannigan from earlier today. He's flying around to third base on a bunt. You take a look at Jared Miller. He's flying around the bases. You're looking at Nick Jouer. He's flying around the bases. Ryan Cole had an inside the park home run. These are aggressive runners for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
Cole back at the plate currently. Pops one in up to shallow center. Walsh secures it for out number 1. And we've talked at length this weekend about Notre Dame has a solid lineup that can hurt you from top to bottom. And what we mean by that is Jared Miller and Zach Preisner, the 8 and 9 hitters in the lineup for Notre Dame this afternoon, are 5 for 9 at the plate with 4 runs batted in.
It's just the talent, and that's why, I mean, there's just so much you could say about this Notre Dame Fighting Irish lineup, and head coach Link Jarrett raved about them when we spoke to him earlier in the week. Just said that a lot of great things about all the players in the lineup top to bottom, and when they all are on the same cylinder, as we saw last week against Wake Forest in the ACC matchup, and even today at this game and yesterday's game, when they're on the same page, they're arguably the best offense in college baseball.
Coetzee lifts one in the air towards center. Walsh drifts back for it. Tagging from second is Preisner. He slides into third base safely. Back-to-back flyouts to center field for Notre Dame. And now Carter Putz will step into the box. And Moore delivers a first pitch strike to Putz. You mentioned last weekend's series against Wake Forest. As Putz takes a ball, it was the 4th ACC sweep of the season for Notre Dame, which is the most in a single season since Notre Dame joined the conference back in 2014. As Putz fouls that back. And if you didn't believe us talking about the wind here in South Bend and how much of a factor the weather is, Evan Moore's hat just flew off of his head, and his pitching card came out with it.
Yeah, I mean, just the wind is a very big, I think it's a home field advantage for the Fighting Irish. Right here, look at the ball flies, the wind blows his hat off with his pitching card right there. He's pointing at his shortstop, Sam McNulty. Hey, grab my hat really quick because it's going to blow away. But that's just, it is a benefit of the Irish, but it's also, it has ups and downs, I would just say, to leave it at that.
Wind has been steadily blowing throughout the entirety of this game. There are 2 outs in the inning. It's a 2-2 count on Carter Putz. And he fouls the third pitch back. Zach Preisner led this inning off with a double. He is now moved over to third base and is 90 feet away from scoring another run for the Irish. The 2-2, again fouled back for the 4th time. Putz takes a ball. Count is now full.
Moore's hat just flew off his head again with the pitching card. The wind is definitely starting to pick up right here.
Payoff pitch lifted in the air towards right, sending Leary back. He's on the track, and he makes the play as he bumps into the wall. We head to the ninth. It remains a 16-10 Notre Dame lead. What a weekend it's been for Notre Dame third baseman Jack Brannigan. Yesterday, he was 4 for 4 at the plate, including that big 2-run blast. And then today, on the mound, he has been solid for the Irish in relief, striking out the side to get out of the last inning for Notre Dame. And Brannigan is back on the mound for Notre Dame to start the ninth.
Just a fantastic weekend for Jack Brannigan. You want to talk about someone who's waking up at the right time. He's on a 5-game hitting streak after today, and he's just been dominant. And getting a pitching series against Boston College, being up 6, is only going to help benefit head coach Link Jarrett and Jack Brannigan moving forward with postseason play.
Barry Walsh did not go around, much to the dismay of the Notre Dame dugout. The count is now 1-2. On the Boston College center fielder and leadoff hitter. Brannigan struck out the side in the top of the 8th. Walsh pokes one out towards right field. It looks like it's going to be trouble, but it lands in foul territory and no damage done.
Looking back to that call right there with the foul, it looks like Barry Walsh goes all the way around, but the first base umpire disagrees otherwise.
Almost immediately, Brannigan and LaManna pointed over to first base umpire John Byrne. 1-2. Up and in. Walsh did well to get out of the way. Be just a ball, but a scary ball at that. Anytime you got a guy throwing 96 plus and he comes up and in at you, I'm sure you've got to take a moment before stepping back in the box.
I just remember when I was a kid watching the one clip of Aroldis Chapman back when he was on the Cincinnati Reds lose control of his pitch as he punches out Barry Walsh on a filthy pitch. I was watching Aroldis Chapman throwing, and he got so close to Andrew McCutchen. It was like a 104-mile-per-hour fastball at the top of his head by accident, and he just froze there for a second. But that is a beautiful pitch, Grant. He just froze Barry Walsh right there.
Yeah, speaking of freezing, Walsh almost had his knees buckle on that off-speed pitch from Brannigan. 4th straight strikeout by the Notre Dame flamethrower. Typically plays over at third base, but has a huge arm that Coach Jarrett is taking advantage of out of the bullpen. Brannigan threw 11 innings this season coming into this appearance, though this will be one of his longest, trying to get 9 outs. Leary slaps one down the right field line. It's going to one-hop the wall. Leary with speed is going to slide into second safely. And Boston College is alive in the 9th.
Just a nice hit by Cameron Leary right there. Makes solid contact with Jack Brannigan's fastball and is able to hit it out to the wall and get into second base. Sliding into second base now makes him 2 for 5 on the day.
Now heart of the Boston College lineup, Luke Gold takes a big swing and a miss on the first pitch he sees.
Luke Gold alongside other batters like Vetrano and Cameron Leary were mentioned by head coach Link Jarrett when we spoke to him, saying how dangerous of these at-bats they could be. By Jack Brannigan right there, just another breaking ball. He's been getting a lot of these Boston College batters with that breaking ball that has them going through the pitch or freezing them.
Boston College down to their final out, but they have one of their premier sluggers at bat in Joe Vetrano. Vetrano, 2 for 3 at the plate with 2 walks, and one of those hits was a deep solo shot. Former 2-time Section 1 Class A champion at Lakeland High School is Joe Vetrano. 1-1 pitch. Misses low, now 2-1. Vetrano trying to keep Boston College's series hopes alive. With a win today, it would be the first ACC series win of the year for the Eagles. 2-1. Is fouled straight back into the netting behind home plate. And the Eagles are now down to their final strike. We'll see if Brannigan goes back to that breaking ball. Leary leads off of second. There's 2 outs. The 2-2 pitch. Called strike 3. Ball game over. Notre Dame wins by a final score.